This video is definitely coming out like over 12 hours later than it normally would be, but I was super tired last night and my ADHD was running so rampant I couldn't properly focus on my thoughts enough to get them out coherently. Also, if I'm remembering correctly, Zetsu is released in the States in at 7:30, and I bring that up because according to one tab I saw on YouTube at one point, 33% of the people who have watched these videos so far have been from the States. I don't know where the other 67 are from, so I'm just going to presume that they're from the Void. But I in Canada here, those episodes premiere on YouTube at 10:30 p.m., which means that by the time I finish watching them and I finish making these videos, it's often at some point after midnight, maybe even 1 a.m. And I just didn't want to go through that last night because I was just way too tired. But hey, considering how I'm gonna be going on like a trip later this year and won't even be able to record or edit because I won't have my software with me. Probably just good practice to like for uploading these thoughts later than when the premiere occurred. And I mean, ultimately, I just use these videos as I use these videos as a way of getting my thoughts out there. I'm not expecting anything from them. It's just a way for me to get them out, since I kind of have nobody I can even talk to about them in my own personal life. But anyway, that point aside, um, this was a fun episode. It absolutely was. It felt like a good, I don't know if breather would be the right term, but it felt like okay, this is a interesting scenario after like the world ending situation we had in the previous episode. Uh Finally the opening exists. For a good while I was just convinced that the premiere of the that the YouTube premieres would just not have the opening. Uh but no, they finally added it. They finally added it, and it was fun. It was fun to finally see it happen, and I don't know. I'm very happy about that. Um. Anyway, moving that aside, it's funny because it's like simultaneously I have things to talk about, but also it feels like I don't have that much to talk about. Like the nightmares, nothing really new on the nightmare front there. There's the bit of information that the bad dreams are infectious if a nightmare escapes into the waking world. But aside from that, nothing particularly new in that in the nightmare department. The Crow Nightmares design is insanely cool. Um and I find it funny how I was because last previous video I was talking about like all the things that maybe it could represent, and ultimately it's just like no, it's a crow. But I mean, hey, I'm the overthinking king. Who am I if I don't overthink about every little detail going on? um Interesting choice for it just being like a fear of crows in general. Like originally, I thought that when it was the bride's childhood friend, when he was still the dreamer, I was like, oh, is it a crow because crows are known for picking up shiny things? And does like is that like metaphorical in a way for like the bride being considered a quote unquote, shiny thing? But then no, it turned out that she was the dreamer. So now I'm just like, does it only have to do with falling? Like, once again, I know that sometimes things aren't that deep, but I just like poking around and seeing what symbolism I can find because I find it fun to investigate. So sometimes it really just is a straight up crow beast, and I am perfectly fine with that. Um, Speaking of nightmares, I was looking around online last night, and the finally found out who the hell was actually the one designing the nightmares, because I was wondering that, because I always love learning about like the design process behind tokusatsu monsters, and the concept art done by Tomo uh Hyakutake. I'm probably saying that wrong. I am so sorry, sir. But God, that concept art is gorgeous. Like it I need to stare at this man's artwork intently and just like engrave it into my brain. Um the the flight choreography was so cool. The dueling in the air. I'm such a sucker for aerial battles between two or more beings with wings. So that was practically heaven for me, watching them both fight in the air like that. And I like how Baku's wings, like, because in costume form, naturally, it's a cape. Um, because, like, I think having something more rigid would probably restrict the suit actor's movements, but I like how in the flight scenes, like, animated it, like, actually performing, like, aerial dives and, like, wing maneuvers to properly go through the air. And it's like, I don't know, I just like that. It's cool, and it's a fun detail that I like when people include. Um, and speaking of the dreams, I Nemu being present as like the wedding planner, I think she was, but she remembers Baku. And like I know that kind of was like implied to happen, but this is like a drastically different scenario than the previous episode's dream. So Nemu does carry over her memories of Baku being a secret agent, which I find is interesting. And I think I remember seeing somewhere that apparently there's a theory going around that she might be a nightmare. If that was true, I'd be so down for that. I'd be so interested. And I think it'd especially be so cool because, like, she's clearly a real world celebrity, too. So would it be like a nightmare that took on her image? Or is she a or is she a nightmare that managed to take over a human host and is just kind of quietly living under the radar as a nightmare? Like, lots of possibilities there. I can't confidently say that I know what's going to happen with her, but I think though the little drops that we have are so interesting, and I do like the nightmare theory. I really do. It's so fun. Um I need to find a better way to transition into other thoughts sometimes, but moving on to Baku, my boy, my special little guy. Um I've been wanting to talk about this for like a bit, but I think that this episode really does exemplify it to me. Is one of my favorite things about like Kamen Riders is that how, because you know, they have a civilian identity and then they have their rider identity, but I always think it's super fun when there is a, I wouldn't say a noticeable difference, but more so as in it feels like a change in conduct and everything, and not just as in the way of, oh, I know that this character is being played by a suit actor in this scene, but what I mean is like sometimes like them feeling different in their rider forms that comes from a pro- not a progression, a diverging of their existing character. Like I'm probably I someday kind of want to make a whole like video just talking about this specific topic only, but like an example I can kind of think of is is Kiva, where Wataru is, you know, very shy, very withdrawn. Uh and his body language reflects that. But then when he becomes Kiva, he's it feels like that he doesn't have to like hide as much when he acts as Kiva. Like at first he doesn't even talk really well as Kiva. But it feels like it's a more like comfortable space that he's fitting in because nobody is looking at him as Wataru, they're looking at him as Kiva if they see him. Like, it's that sort of phenomenon, and I can definitely see that happening with Baku as well, but more interestingly for me, because instead of it just feeling like it's, Baku's civilian identity and then writer identity as Zeztz, you now have an extra one in there as being agent number 7, where it feels like Baku, Agent 7 and Zeztz are kind of more similar identities than Baku is with either of them. Uh, and because in the real world, he likes helping people. He wanted to very much run and help that old lady, but was stopped with his bad luck getting in the way. While in his dreams, he eagerly helps out people in the dreams, and nothing kind of like befalls him there. Like, I'm not sure how to explain it, but it's like I feel like his persona as Agent 7 is what he would be more like as Baku if there wasn't his circumstances of bad luck and other factors in there. Like it's a very scattered thought, definitely, and I'll probably be able to make like a better articulated point about it in the future, but I just wanted to kind of like toss that line out there so I didn't just suddenly forget to bring it up again for the next like I don't know 10 episodes and then go, "Oh yeah, I want to talk about this." Um I do wonder though if the a random thought, if Baku is in a dream and the dreamer wakes up before he does he wake up as well, or does he get like kicked out of the dream? Like, what happens in that case? It's like kind of an inconsequential thought, but I'm just curious of what would happen if that were the case in that regard. Um, the last thing I can think to talk about is the situation going on with paranormal affairs, because now Fujimi and Nazca are well, their department's been reinstated, but on an unofficial basis. So it's kind of just, I guess, the two of them only working in this area now. Which I wonder how Nazca thinks of that. It's like, oh boy, I'm in the I'm doing the line of work I believe in, but I get moved into an unofficial department. Fucking well then, this is my life now. Um, I according to the preview of the next episode though, the two of them seem that to be finding out about Code's headquarters, which is like really good, and I'm very happy that that's happening because I love Baku, do not get me wrong, but I'm very thrilled to see Fujimi and Nazca uh like becoming more involved with the plot. Like their paths are going to naturally cross with Baku's, especially since Fujimi already suspects Baku as knowing something deeper of the nightmares. So I'm very excited, and with them finding out about Code's headquarters, it's like it seems that they are going to one, they're probably going to meet Zero too, which will be awesome to see, but also that they'll become more involved with hunting and defeating the nightmares, which I'm very excited for, especially since after their interactions in like the second episode, because I loved how they kind of just matched each other's energy. I'm so it's I'm just thrilled that they're gonna be getting more interactions and that we're slowly gonna bring like kind of like the main cast much closer to each other in terms of the story.